The police department has recently been working on cutting down criminal activity on High Street, School Street, Temple Street, as well as Union Street. And yesterday at around 1 p.m., officers arrested 25-year-old Manuel Torres, 25-year-old Hector Lopez, and 23-year-old Michael Perez Cruz for their alleged involvement with gun violence and drug dealing in the High School, Temple, and Union Street areas. Michael Perez Cruz, who's from Springfield, was charged with the murder of Sean Delgado. He was also charged with armed assault to murder, carrying a loaded gun, possession of ammunition, possession of a Class B drug, and trespassing. Manuel Torres, also from Springfield, was charged with possession of a loaded machine gun, firearm, and ammunition, the improper storage of a firearm, cocaine trafficking, possession with the intent to distribute, and trespassing. And on Wednesday, Springfield police also arrested 25-year-old Shakira Molinaro of Page Boulevard from distributing drugs in the High and School Street area. Detectives executing a search warrant, and they were able to seize a loaded gun, a ghost gun, at around 27 grams of crack cocaine, various rounds of ammunition, and more than 37 grams of heroin and Suboxone. Springfield police also arresting 25-year-old Alexis Semprit on Thursday near the intersection of Main and Margaret Street after officers saw Semprit selling drugs in the School and High Street area. Detectives recovering almost $3,000, more than 100 grams of crack and powdered cocaine, as well as 10 bags of marijuana.